Hello and welcome back to Digging the Game. This episode is unashamedly all about just having fun, because frankly we had so much fun, did Liv and I, and there's Liv by the way. Hello. Playing C14 Dating. We simply had to come back and do part 2 because we left it on a sort of like a cliffhanger, didn't we? Like there'd been a sort of drunken night out, and she'd been helped back to her tent by a lovely man, and the next morning, I don't know, it's breakfast. So let's go back into it. Because the thing is, I think that we were both surprised by as well was the fact that this actually has solid archaeology in it as well.
Yeah, the archaeology is really good.
Yeah, and I think at some point someone's clearly done their research. Okay, so full version active. Oh, cool. Continue. There we go. And here we go. I sat at the table, munching on a piece of toast. It was pretty packed, and, as usual, I was located near the end, while the livelier conversations took place in the middle. A short glass slid into my view, water rippling in it. Morning. Slept well? Asks DeAndre. I decided not to bring up the whole wrong tent incident. Incidentally, we guided her from the wrong tent, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were very careful to make sure that, she got back to her tent. I did not even have a headache, she says. Instead of consuming too much, you drank too fast, he says. I picked up the glass and took a sip. Thanks for the water. Merci. De rien. Think of it as a small apology for last night. Oh, don't worry about it. You're not my babysitter, and I should have been more aware of my drinking. Which is a good life tip, I think.
Yes.
Definitely. Thanks for escorting me back, though. I appreciate it. Oh, he's back to, doing the, I did what any decent person would do. Besides, you're in a new country. I think you're allowed to enjoy yourself once in a while. Well, yeah, fair enough.
Kind of him.
Yeah? Party hard in New Zealand or something? She asks. Yeah. Did I ever? I was glad to arrive a month before classes started, where it would have shown in my grades. Oh, party. Also, I finally will be working in the cave. Nice. Were you waiting for on your photograph? Yeah, some squares had to have their pictures retaken for better resolution. Yeah, fair point. Yeah. I may or may not work in the lab longer, though Mr. Dupont will be hurrying to approve other students' pictures too. Okay. You could always ask Sherry. I think she has some authority here too. Melissa and Sherry, they're getting on well, aren't they? Yeah. Sort of almost like a protege. Sherry Keller, my professor. Oh, at this point, do we find out that Sherry's been dead all along? Of course, Americans address teachers by their first name. Oh, that's the problem. Sorry. Whoops. There we go. Is it different here? Really different. In fact, I think some students mistook Sherry for your grandma. A professor overseeing their students in an elective. Unheard of. No one calls their teachers by their first name, and it's always strictly formal. If you want to talk to your professor, it's by appointment only. Oh well. We've been getting special attention from Sherry. I wonder how I'd do in an environment like that. That's one thing I missed about New Zealand. It wasn't as rigid, and I'd gotten so used to it, I practically had to reverse culture shock coming back. Now, actually, that's an interesting thing because I know quite a few scholars from, for example, Italy, France to a certain extent, where it's extremely formalised, the relationship between student and professor. I mean, like to the point where to a Brit, it almost looks like you're being a bit slimy and obsequious, kind of like, yes sir, yes madam, kind of thing, and giving them, practically giving them apples at the end of class, kind of thing. So yeah, okay, that's authentic. The French academic culture. There's a lot of things I miss in New Zealand. Planning to return there one day? You bet. Eventually. I started saving up recently. Travel is darn expensive. Yeah. He laughed at my nod of agreement. The plane tickets here alone had cleaned out my savings. Everything else was from begging my parents to fund me for this trip. Yep, that's very familiar. Yep, definitely. Checking the time, I chewed the last of my toast and gulped down the water. I'll see you at the cave, then. Okay, off we go. So let's see. Activities fail. Oh no, sorry. Success at inquiring, okay. Gaming. Success, cool. Oh, we're in the museum, okay. Sherry, are you sure you'll be fine alone? Look, this doesn't look like a formal relationship. She looks properly worried for you. Or maybe she's worried about the artifact, I don't know. Yeah, my parents got all concerned when they learned I no longer have a travelling partner. I was strongly advised not to go off on my own since it's my first time being far from home. Although I tried to be nonchalant about it, my sulkiness still surfaced. It's probably for the best. However, I'm sure you'll make friends and be able to adventure out more. If you'd like, I can ask some of the students to see if they're interested in hosting you on the weekends. Oh, okay. Me? I'd hate to impose. Ugh. I know you're reluctant, but it would be nice to spend time with the students outside the dig site. True, I get to see more of Belgium too, yeah. Belgium being the most exciting country in the world. And we all know this. It's a shame Paige couldn't make it. Where are you staying anyway? Oh, at the colleges. At a colleague's. I've known him and his husband for years. Oh, interesting. I would bring you along, but it's a small house, and, well, she trailed off, and I nodded understandingly. I did not want to impose on her catch-up time with friends. Will the museums be completely locked up once Augustine leaves? Everything's saved for the back entrance so you can access it, so you can lock it from the inside at night. I imagine you'll be sleeping on the second floor. Or you could sleep amongst all the stuff downstairs. Would you do that? Sorry?
Possibly.
Possibly, okay. Yes, Augustine already set up an air mattress for me and I moved it. And I moved some of my belongings, sorry. I moved it. I think we've gone over everything then. There's leftovers in the fridge and Wi-Fi will remain on. That's good, that's good. Yeah. I heard the laboratory door opening and closing and Augustine flashed me a warm smile. All of the other students had left for home for the weekend and it was just us three. Soon to be one. What? So soon to be one left. Now that they were ready to depart. Melissa, I assume. Sherry has gone over everything? Yes. Wonderful. Although this is the first time in many years someone has remained here alone. There was an ominous yet playful smirk, and I could not help but be wary. Why? Well, they're scared of the wrath of the Neanderthal bones that we found. Oh, okay. I think I'll survive 48 hours, says Melissa. What a brave girl. I hear it gets very eerie at night. Honestly, trying to put the spooks up here. We exchanged goodbyes and I heard the click of the front door being locked. When it got very quiet, I pushed the thoughts of ghosts out of my head, as you probably should do.
Yeah.
I have a whole museum to myself. I bet not many people can say that. Huh? The lights are on. Is someone here? Oh. What's all this? There were multiple wooden trays laid out on the centre table. Each contained various rock samples, along with paper slips labelled under each one. So, sorry?
The one that's neighboring to us in the squares.
Yeah. I approached and peered at the trays. Calcaire des schistes grès. Were they studying something, or was this part of another upcoming lecture? Pick up a rock to examine?
Yes.
Okay. Or get permission before handling?
No, she's a wild girl.
Okay. Curious, I picked up one of the shinier rocks and held it up under the ceiling lights. Ne pas toucher. Startled, I placed it back and glanced in the direction of the voice, greeted with a disapproving frown. Naughty Liv. I tried to remedy the blunder. Je suis désolé, je n'ai parlé français. He looked at me in surprise before cracking a smile. Ah, you must be Sherry's student. He approached me casually and stood beside the table. And look at him. Do you think he's hurt his arm, maybe? He's got like a cast on, but okay. Yes, I'm Melissa Flores, studying under Sherry. Pleased to meet you. I couldn't help but think I got off to a rocky start with him. Rocky start! Yay! Good pun. He offered his left hand. I accepted it with a firm shake. Hendrik Lukenhaus, house, at your service. Hendrik, the geologist, Augustine's nephew. That's me. I was supposed to be here earlier, but was caught in a landslide. Oh my God! At work back in Germany. Though I'd catch up a few things. No, thought I'd catch up on a few things before Monday. So hence the arm. Yeah, he hurt himself in a landslide.
You know, like geologists do.
Yeah, as you do. Because that's the first thing you're taught as a geologist. Go to places where it's likely to collapse on you. He jutted his chin towards the samples. Sorry if I seem aggregated. Aggregated? Well, agitated? Some people don't put them back exactly where they should be, and it can get to be a bit of a mess. Yeah, I know that pain. That's understandable. I'll be mindful of that. Feel free to look around if you like. Merci. I picked up a rock, the one labelled calcaire, and this material was everywhere in the cave. Limestone. I placed it down and examined the one beside labelled shale. Where did this come from? From one of the cabinets? It's mine, actually, says Hendrik. Many of the rocks are ones I've dug up or personally found. I thought it'd be nice to have some examples to show the students here. Fair enough. Especially if they can't tell the difference between chert and shale yet. And what is the difference? Well, he eagerly motioned me over to the tray and picked up a dark rock and offered it to me. It felt grainy in the hand. First off, shale is composed of silt and clay, and it's a very soft rock. You've probably seen shale at road cuts or by riverbanks. Okay? And this is chert. You can already notice the waxy lustre. It's harder than shale. I held the sample in my other hand, and it also felt smoother than shale, almost like glass. That is what you need to keep an eye out for. A lot of the stone tools were crafted out. Were crafted out of chert. Unfortunately, they tend to stand out like new when you uncover them. Fortunately, they tend to stand out like new when you uncover them. I can tell you've given this lecture many times. I'm guessing most students here have never worked with rocks before. Yep, many are into art, computers or music. Not me, he says, playing a computer game. I returned the rocks to their rightful spot. Oh. What are you doing in Germany? Pretty much what I do here. Supervise excavators, examine and compile soil samples, figure out the stratigraphy. I essentially chalk out a map of the cave to study the sediments and its history. That sounds difficult. You'd think sedimentary formations would be more straightforward. Older on the bottom, more recent on the top. Well, yeah, fair point. You'd think, but geology is never that nice and easy. How best to describe this? Do you like cake? Of quartz, I like cake.
Yes.
Or I enjoy it sometimes. I think of quartz.
Yes.
Yes. Of quartz, I like cake. Cake of quartz, I like it. Or of course I like it. He chuckled at my pun. At least he appreciated the silly efforts. You'll be able to follow along then. It's pretty sedimentary after all. Sedimentary, dear Watson. Sedimentary. What are the chances you've tried a... Now this is going to be difficult. Prinz Rengetort? That's a type of cake, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's a princess.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Very low, non-existent in fact. Then Black Forest, how about that? Less layers than I'd like, but you'll get the idea. Yes, I'm familiar with it. I'll work with, it'll work as long as I picture a multi-layered cake, right? Exactly. Cakes are like basic sediments, consisting of layers and patterns all around. Unlike cake, stratigraphy is a complex puzzle. Hendrik made multiple slices in the air with his hand, gradually lowering the elevation each time to emphasize the point. Layers are slanted due to how they were deposited, whether by alluvial means, weathering, freeze-thaw, gravity, cave-ins, and the list goes on. And then, just as sediment starts to settle, a river or a flood may come in and wash the top surfaces away, leaving nothing or portions of the same layer in isolated pockets. Oh. Badgers and other burrowing animals cut through the layers, disrupting sediments further, or something drastic could take place, like an earthquake, creating faults and misaligned sediments. I tell you, this game, it's great.
It's proper education.
It is, it's actual education, yeah. Therefore, it's up to me to figure it out, okay? I hope I didn't bore you. People always said that I'm married to my job. It wasn't boring at all. If anything, it made me realise how much work goes into understanding the cave's history. It's definitely not easy, but I enjoy the challenge of piecing information together. Since I'm here, I'll be available if you have any other questions or inquiries. So is he here overnight, do you think?
I don't know. Maybe.
I guess we'll find out. He finished the first sentence. No, finished the last sentence like a well-rehearsed routine. How long have you worked here? Me? Let me think. Nearly 4 years now. I help my uncle during the summer, and then hop on a few other caves, depending on their excavating schedules. After a glance upward, his eyes widened, and he slapped his forehead. Oh, I'm supposed to be at Namur soon. I hope it didn't startle you earlier. My uncle did mention there'd be a student staying here on the weekend, but it slipped my mind. No, that's fine. It was nice finally meeting you, Hendrik. Likewise. I'll be sure to ask if you have any other... No, I'll be sure to ask if I have any other geology questions. That's what I'm here for. I'll see you on Monday. So there you go. He's off to Nimbo. So dancing, success. Dancing, fail. Dancing, success. And see, we chose the right day to dance, because she's on her own in the museum. Okay, so what should we do? Monday morning.
We should probably excavate a bit, or maybe do some lab. We haven't done much lab, have
We haven't. No. Okay, that's lab. Okay. And there's catch, socialise, and then excavate. More lab.
Maybe we should do every other day.
Okay, yeah, we can do every other day. So lab, excavate, and then end the week in the lab. That sounds good. That's it. Yeah, okay, cool. So off we go. Oh, chocolate hazelnut. You're worth the extra insulin. Of course, she's diabetic. When I was done, I rolled the bread up and bit the end. My mouth glued shut as I chewed, while the spread smeared my cheek. Oh, so it's like Nutella on a on a crepe or something. Glad I was eating breakfast alone. I was being sloppy. Bonjour? Huh? Someone lightly pecked me on the cheek. The person immediately pulled back, and I hastily rubbed my face. And well, he did the same. Oh, it's him. Oh, DeAndre, I was stuffing my face. At least warn me next time before you kiss me. Oh, I could say the same. Says What was with the kiss anyway? It's just how you greet friends. Usually the cheek.
Jesus. To the woman unfamiliar with his culture.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In France, we usually have sex with friends. Like, kissing goes a little smoother than this one. So, he eyed my breakfast and snorted teasingly. Cute, Mel. Hey, I wasn't expecting everyone to arrive so soon. Did you arrive? Wait, did you drive here? We took the train. It only stops here every half an hour, so you either arrive early or you arrive slightly late. Before I could question the we, DeAndre tapped the side of his cheek. You still have some. You too. Still? Did you dunk your face into? I did not. Your timing was just atrocious. Oh, who's he? While we were both cleaning ourselves, I noticed, it's Kyler. Kyler observing us with a deadpan expression. Not impressed. He frowned in disgust and disappeared around the corner with his belongings. DeAndre sighed, rubbing his temples like he'd an impending headache. I don't think he likes me, he says. I don't think he likes many people by the sounds of it.
No.
Yeah.
Or maybe he likes them, but he's really horrible at expressing it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yes. Yeah, I have to say I'm sort of on that end of the spectrum. Yeah. Something happened? Well, do you remember that rowdy night? Vaguely. Well, after you went to bed, a bunch of us started playing catch. I may or may not have nailed Kyler in the head with the ball. Ellipsis. Was he okay? Yeah, he was fine. He was just upset. I tried to apologise, but he would not hear of it. Now he probably thought I was shamelessly flirting with you like some full-time playboy. Oh, you aren't? Wink. Part-time. Kyler seems to be the type where first impressions are everything. I think you're right. He seemed to tolerate me once he learned I was serious about archaeology. Oh yeah? You two work in the same location? About the ball incident. Volunteer to talk to Kyler. Ask if DeAndre will talk to Kyler.
Volunteer?
Volunteer. Let's volunteer. Leave it to me. My square is next to his anyway, because we're square buddies. So I'll be able to talk to Kyler anytime. Really? It's not a big deal, but let him know I apologise for that. A few other students trickled in, and I finished my breakfast before there were any more mishaps. So with the teller. Anyway, where did you stay this weekend? I furiously choose my oversized portion, but DeAndre flashed me a patient "I'll wait" smile. Coughing, I simply tapped the table since I could not talk. Here? How was it? I survived, she says, probably having just swallowed a whole sandwich. When the car pulled in, I knew Augustine and Cherie had arrived. I waved to them as they got out, although inwardly I wanted to whine to Augustine about the whole ghost thing. After Cherie and I greeted each other, she handed my journal back. Be sure to read the comments in the journal when you have time. It'll give you an idea of how you're performing, okay? Thank you, I will. Also, since this is your second week here, and now you have an option to pick lab work if you'd like. And we have, haven't we? Oh, right. I'll notify Hendrik. He handles the lab 101 here, and he can explain the procedures to you. Nice. It seems my options have opened up. Okay. There sure is a lot of stuff here. Stuff and tools. I perked up as Hendrik tapped the whiteboard with his prosthetic fingers. What? Um, he, his speech has he actually got a prosthetic thing? No, he's just got a glove and an arm cast, hasn't he? I don't think he's actually a robot. Or, well, you know. Oh, no, not robot, but anyway, didn't lose his arm. Anyway, his speech continuing in French. His lecture was occasionally interrupted with polite giggles or groans, and I would grin at their reactions. Hendrik loved to deliver puns in any language. I mused. Yes, he does. I love puns. Once the explanation was wrapped up, people collected plastic bags, each with a sheet inside. Some barely contained any material, while others had huge bones encased in tin foil. I grabbed a decently sized one, with mostly smaller items, and fished out the fiche along with a wrapped item. Ooh. Is this your first time doing lab work? Asked Hendrik. Yes, Cherie's gone over the procedures with a slide presentation, but it's different seeing it all up close. If you like, I can clarify a few things. I thought it'd be easier to do a little one-on-one instead of repeating myself in both languages and taking up more time. Oh, okay, fair enough. That is quite sensible. Yes. Really? Then, what do we do essentially? How to clean items? Why a nib pen? Go over tools used. Should we just go down the list?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do we do essentially? Can you break down the lab process into its simplest form? Clean objects, document, repeat. Excellent. That's it. That was short and sweet. When you've worked with many students with varying degrees of interest in archaeology, it helps to be concise. Yeah. It's my own take on the KISS principle. I see. Keep it simple for students, okay? How to clean items. Do you think the KISS principle would work in a university setting? I think you'd probably get in trouble, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would probably get in trouble.
Yeah. There's so many tools I use to clean, and what's the general routine? He leaned over and pointed to a plastic bowl with a sieve placed over it. Depending on how dirty the item is, use this to wash the majority of the soil off. Okay? If it's a bone, please do not let it stay submerged for too long, or it'll become saturated. It will end up damaging the object, especially if it's already cracked or flaking. Again, good archaeology. Other times you simply need to dunk a brush into the water if you're only cleaning a small section. Okay. Be sure to dry it thoroughly using a paper towel or lint-free cloth. And whether you use that step or not, it's on to using brushes and craft sticks. Okay. I know about brushes, but craft sticks? Yeah, they're great for scraping mud off without scratching the remains. Yep. I'm partial to craft sticks myself, but everyone has their own preference. If you use a brush, be gentle and don't scrub too hard. And there are toothpicks which are useful for cleaning teeth or porous items. If the object is relatively clean to begin with and doesn't need water, you can simply brush the dirt off. Be careful though, some bones are too fragile to wash or clean. Use your judgment. There'll be a little trial and error at first, but you'll get the hang of it. Now that's interesting as well, because I remember like my first dig and having this sense of you can't afford to mess up, but with this bulk of artifacts, I guess they do allow that learning curve, and some stuff will be scrubbed too hard at first, but yeah, it's good. Again, it's. Sorry, what was that saying?
I say that it's really important that you have that learning curve, otherwise you'll just be terrified.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
You're not allowed to do anything for real.
Definitely embrace the learning curve, and again, these guys they've done their research. You'll get the hang of it. Don't worry, I won't get upset if a bone falls apart, he says with a wink. Says the geologist. What if I drop a rock? What if I break a rock under my foot? Handle those with extreme care. Please. He looks genuinely like...
Why would you say something like that?
I will, promise. Why a nib pen? I picked up the ink bottle and gave him an uncertain look. Why these? It looks like it'll be a messy process. I've never used a nib pen before. It stays on the bone or stone better than regular ink, regardless of surface, and you have a better control over the writing. Fair point. I'm terrible at discerning how to use one. If you hold it slightly lower than a regular pen and lightly pull, the ink should flow out evenly. Obviously, don't dunk the nib into the ink bottle like cookies and milk though. Also, follow the number style I've written on the board. I turned my head, studying the 1 to 9 that went through the vertical column. The 3 was flat at the top, and the 7 had an extra line in the middle of it. The 1 had a little hook at the top with a foundation. Is it to keep everything more consistent? That, and we don't panic if numbering fades, you see. He approached the board and wrote a bubbly 8, then half wiped it off, turning it into a 3. This is why, same with 7, if we lose part of it, we won't mistake it for a 1. Oh, I see, due to the line in the middle. I understand. Okay, I get it. Okay, so you're drawing the 7 with you're making each numeral distinct. Yeah. It's extremely important to be able to identify this number. When you're done jotting down the fiche number and the year, don't forget to coat it with a thin layer of clear nail polish to protect the ink. Make sure you let the ink dry first, or it'll become all blurry. What happens if I mess up? I have a feeling that whiteout won't help here, or I suppose Tipex won't help here. And then, this is the fun part. You see, we use the nib to scrape off the ink. I don't recommend using it multiple times over the same surface though. Then you'll end up destroying the item that you're trying to preserve. What if the object is impossible to write on due to its size? Then place it in a tray cup along with a written piece of paper that came with it. Although try your best to write in a partial line, since it's possible to lose the paper over time. Please write neatly, so I don't end up cursing your name next year when I get around to them. Go over the tools used. Can you sum up each tool used for me? Sorry if there's any overlap. It's fine, it's important to clarify. There's the water, the sieve, and the bowl for washing. Other instruments include the brushes of various sizes, craft sticks and toothpicks, cloth and paper towels for drying, and when it's all written down and coated with nail polish, you can drop the items in the cups set on the trays over there. He pointed to a row of wooden trays, each with cups superglued to the surface. Some had bigger containers for obviously larger objects too. That way they'll dry out in the sun. I'll take care of everything when the lab work is done, so you don't have to worry about the rest. Okay? Any other tips? Any other tips or tricks you can think of off the top of your head? Other than what I've told you, just be gentle, use your best judgment. Don't mix up the items, please, and be sure to clean up the utensils when you're all done. Isn't it harder to extract DNA after you wash them? Plus, we are touching them with our bare hands. Even just breathing while you're digging contaminates exposed material. It's virtually impossible to avoid tainting samples unless you catch it early while excavating. We'd rather have some items clean so they can identify their morphology or possible Neanderthal manipulation of these items. Like, well, burnt bone, cuts in the bone from flint tools, manufacturing. The stuff I hope to avoid had ended up in the wet screening process and has its context marked and identified on a document. Okay, don't think everything is contaminated. Oh no, we've done that. Let's get through that. Move! But nonetheless, it's good that she's thinking about contamination.
No, I mean, it's a decent thought process.
Yeah. I'm good, she says. I think I've got everything, thanks. Thanks for the help, Hendrik. Jean problem. I'm not sure I get that pun. Problem. I'll mostly be helping out in the lab, working alongside the other students. Hendrik, need help with anything? Could you supervise my first cleaning? Of course. I know lab work can be tough. Okay, so first cleaning, here we go. Here we have our tools: toothpick, brush, craft stick, cloth and water sieve. Remember that we're dealing mostly with fragile objects, and it'd be too time consuming to clean each one of them perfectly. The idea is to make the object recognisable. Luckily you're cleaning a piece of chert, so let's wash it off in the sieve. Okay, so in this mini game you must pick the tools to get as close to the target force as possible. Each tool has a different force. Okay, wow. What do you reckon? Brush, toothpick?
Let's start with the sieve, so I'm thinking we should start with the sieve.
Oh yeah? Oh, that's a good point. Whatever, Liv, whatever.
I'm just listening to the instructions.
Yeah, there you go. As you can see, it revealed a number, the tool's force below it. This will only happen to the first tool selected. Okay. So force 9, I don't know, brush.
Yeah.
Or, oh, hang on. There we go. I'm going to use the cloth to wipe it down. Okay, so all we have to do is dip it, I guess. But that wasn't very good though. There you can't see the rest of the tool's forces. Their values will always go from lowest to highest, top left to bottom right, i.e. 2, 3, 4, 7, 9. Okay. It looks pretty clean now. It's just a bit of dirt in the crevices. You can select as many tools as you want. However, for this tutorial, you can only pick 3 in total. Choose your last tool.
Yeah.
Brush. Okay. Got 19 apparently. What? Oh, because of the cloth. Okay, so 9, 7, 3, 19 out of 20. That's not bad.
Oh.
We probably should have gone for craft sticks though, to get the 4, get the extra 1. Chert in your journal entry. Hooray! There, done. Great. You can let it dry off before writing on it. If I feel there's a bit of luck involved. Well, certainly when you do it like this, I think there's a bit of luck involved. When you can't see numbers and you've got this force thing. Each game starts with randomly generated forces. What? There can be anywhere between 1 and 9. Again, the values always go lowest to highest and top left to bottom right. Okay, blimey. It is. Some sturdy looking bones start crumbling as soon as you touch them, and some are already in awful condition. I'd rather see a slightly dirty object intact than the clean one broken off, if that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. The goal is to either match the target force or get within 4 points of it. If you go over, the object will break. Oh, I see. So it's literally the force that you're applying to the object. Right. Okay, that makes sense. So don't push it if you feel that it's as clean as it'll get. Okay. You got it. Excuse me, I need to go and help another student. No problem. Thanks, Hendrik. Now for the next one, and it's not a rock this time. Okay. Hendrik drifted away to answer questions from other students while I gingerly unwrapped one of the items in tin foil. It was a tiny tooth with only minimal dirt attached to the root. At least it was going to be an easy one to work with. I dunked a toothbrush into water. Makes sense, toothbrush for the tooth. And began to scrub it. I dried it off, set it on the cloth, then uncapped the ink bottle and neatly dipped the nib into it. Gently, gently. I had barely touched the tooth with the nib when a giant splotch of ink dispersed and penetrated the root. It now resembled a squished black spider. Oh. And then she's a bit shocked. I cleaned the nib and scraped the blotch and best I could. It seemed to work, but it also scratched into the tooth. Oh! I mean, because this is a Neanderthal tooth. This is important, man. What? Oh, what's he doing? What's she doing? It's harder than it looks. I'm already missing the cave. Of course, this was where the real discoveries would take place, where everything was catalogued and identified for future examination. I would also be graded for my lab work, so it wasn't something I could avoid entirely. Time to see if I can finish this one at least. Okay. So lab, success. You have 6 more objects to clean in the lab today. Good luck. Okay. Okay.
It's dirty, so
Sorry?
sieve it. Yeah, sieve it.
Yep, sieve it. Okay. And then dry it. And then craft stick it, shall we? Yeah.
Then you-
Check. Oh no! We broke the artifact. Oh no, I didn't. Oh, 23. Okay, okay. Let's go for next. Target force 18. So, sieve it.
Or just wipe it off, maybe.
Yeah, wipe it off, yeah. 16, okay. So we could have gone for a toothpick.
Yeah.
Okay. Target force 17. So this time, sieve, cloth, toothpick. Check. 12. Oh, too dirty. Oh, this is not easy. Okay, so sieve, cloth, craft stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Check. 21. Hooray! So we didn't break it. Only 2 points away. Next one, target force 15. So 9, and then clean it, dry it. Yeah. Oh no, 6. 6. Let's try that. 5 points off. Oh dear. Okay, okay. 5 out of 6, 23. So sieve, dry, craft sticks,
Yeah.
and toothpick. Yes! 23! You use exactly the right amount of force. Ha 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 ha! Getting good at this. Okay, next. Oh, did a decent job today. Okay, thank you. There you go.
Thank you.
Oh, coprolite. Nice. What kind of bone is this? A tooth? It was the size of the palm of my hand and it waved with ridges on the outside. Who should I ask? Hendrik or Sherry? What do you think? Hendrik? Yeah, okay. Hendrik may be a geologist, but he should be familiar with bones too. Hey Hendrik, I have a question. Sure, how can I help? Do you know what this is? Well, I offered it to him and he held it between his finger and thumb, examining it closely. This is, yes, not a rock. He casually dropped it into my outstretched hand. You have no idea. Nope, my expertise lies in geology and geology alone. Oh, so he doesn't know what it is then. Ah, okay. He is not interested in anything that used to be alive, or still living for that matter. What's that supposed to mean? Oh, you know what I mean. You're too absorbed in your work, says Augustine. You never show interest in other people, especially. Augustine, do you know what this bone is? You've seen one silly, Coeledonta antiquitatis upper molar. You've seen them all. I see, thanks. A student raised her hand and Augustine wandered off to help. Hendrik scratched his cheek sheepishly. Oh, yeah. Thanks for changing the subject. No problem. I had a feeling you didn't want your personal life brought up in front of a student. The perks of working with family. I swear, we're professional most of the time. Oh, and Coelodonta. Oh God, Coelodonta antiquitatis is woolly rhinoceros. Oh. Hey, do you know some stuff? You do know some stuff outside geology. I'm surprised you are. I'm as surprised as you are. Sorry, I guess I have an inkling of non-geology knowledge buried in my head after all.
Oh, the 4 years there, I hope so.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, failed at catch. Socializing. Success. And now we're, I think, off to the cave, I think. I was braver this time. Instead of sitting at the end of the bench, I positioned myself right in the middle, hoping to mingle with other students. I eyed the carton of apple juice that was out of my reach, so I did not want to stand up and reach over, since that would seem rude. However, I wasn't sure if I could communicate clearly with the people beside me. It was worth a shot though, and I did try to brush up on my French when I had a chance. So ask for it in French, I guess. Yeah. Please, pronunciation, don't fail me now. I hesitantly extended my fingers towards the item. Excusez-moi? Ooh, Chantal. Hello, Chantal. Pouvez-vous, s'il vous plaît, passer le jus de pomme? The girl clapped her hand at her mouth in shock, then excitedly gestured with her one arm in the air. Qui, tout le monde? Elle parlait français. Peux-tu répéter? Repeat. I stammered out the line, but finished strongly. Moments later, everyone... Oh, rats, missed that. Everyone was happy, I guess. Merci. As the claps died down, everyone was clapping. I felt a little more welcome here. It was rather encouraging. All I had to do was ask for a juice in French. But it wasn't getting my juice any faster. Eyes on the prize. It seemed my thoughts were heard, and the juice carton appeared beside my plate. I glanced up, and the redhead across from me smiled. Recognizing each other, we exchanged a grin. Merci beaucoup. You're welcome, says Joan. Joan and I met already. I'm Melissa. Chantal, sorry for the spotlight, but a little cheering would help. It's fine. I appreciate it. I poured my drink while Joan eyed me curiously. Oh. Chantal is fine. She's from the States. No, she is from the States. Sorry, says Joan. Chantal, she is from the States. Yep, California to be exact. Beaches, bikinis, movie stars, and all that jazz. What about orange juice? To come all this way, you want to be an archaeologist as well? Yes, I jumped at the chance to excavate at a Neanderthal site. I can't exactly do that back home, no. It's incredible to be surrounded by all this history. What about you two? What degrees are you taking? Chantal translated for me, and Joan brightened up as she raised her fingers close to her cheek and wriggled them. Sort of, yeah, okay. Music. I play the flute. Oh, I see, like that. Yes, okay. Neat. How do you say flute in French? Chantal chuckled loudly, but managed to relay the question to Joan, who giggled. La flute. Of course. Why am I not surprised? But isn't that nice? It helps learning a language if many of the words are identical or similar. If all else fails, say the word in English. There's a chance we might understand. Are you monolingual? Well, pretty much yes, or admit knowing some Spanish. Well, back on the Spanish again. Yeah, I know some Spanish. I'm not sure if it counts, but solo hablo un poquito de español. Joan tilted her head while Chantal leaned in ardently. Hablas español? Mis puedes I'm terrible with this pronunciation. Enseñar español. Of course, you've been in South America, haven't you, Liv?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll know a bit of this. Tal vez. Where did you learn it? My parents speak it, and I was much more fluent growing up, but I've sort of gotten rusty. Are you learning Spanish? Chantal poured between a spoonful of cereal sprinkled with cocoa powder. I'd like to, but Spanish classes conflict with my other courses. I want to go to South America or the Caribbean, so I'd like to master both English and Spanish. We both glanced back at Joan, who patiently tried to follow along. Chantal quickly summed up our conversation, and Joan nodded. Chantal wants to dig underwater. Oh. I'm interested in underwater archaeology. Sadly, this elective is not what I'm looking for, but the choices were pretty limited. I guess the cave can get damp occasionally, though, if that counts. I admit, underwater archaeology was not a field I'd given much thought to. Okay. Why underwater? Are you Looking for underwater ruins of cities, searching for pirate ships, looking for Atlantis.
Pirate ships.
Pirate ships, okay. Looking for pirates or trading ships. There was lots of piracy in the Caribbean. Well done. Yes, I've always loved the whole buccaneer scene. I'd like to excavate something like Port Royal, the infamous Jamaican city that was partially submerged after an earthquake. There's already been multiple investigations of Port Royal, and it makes me anxious. I really want to start enjoying something amazing like that. I feel by the time I graduate, everything about Port Royal will be studied. Hardly. And then left alone and forgotten, like a grotte d'espy. I'm sure there's nothing to worry about. Archaeologists are rediscovered Pompeii hundreds of years ago, and excavations are still ongoing. These things take time. Kaelin, of course. I paused to let Chantal summarise our conversation again. Joan giggled, then responded with a sentence so soft I couldn't catch it. What did she say? Joan says she's a super slow digger in Grotte de Calin. I know no archaeology. Chantal helps.
Oh, she's cute.
Yeah? More like I reassure her. I'll help, and then wonder if I should bother Mr. Dupont. I'm thankful for Mrs. Keller. She's very patient. And I guess there's Hendrik, right, too. He seems pretty approachable. He is, and he's definitely geologisty. Chantal tilted her head forward in the far end of the table. I could see him socialising with Sherry and Augustine, obviously playing catch-up. He's Beau too. He's Beau, too. Oh, yeah, good looking. He's supervising the labs now. Maybe they won't be so boring this time around. Have you done them yet? Only recently. Sherry encouraged me to focus on the cave last week. The lab's not bad, but there's a lot to take in. I find it tedious, Joan. Aimes-tu les laboratoires? No. It's tedious, boring. If you like, maybe the three of us could work in the lab together. That sounds fun. Sounds like a plan. Joan picked up her empty plate and I did the same. It was nice talking to you, Melissa. Nice talking to you, Joan. I'll see you both later. My grin didn't fade after we parted ways. It felt wonderful to branch out and introduce myself to more people. Oh, I finally made some female friends. Sorry, just thinking if someone walked in at that point, I'm just like, I finally made some female friends. Obviously, Melissa says that. Why did it take me so long anyway, she wonders. Okay, so cave, success. You have a new find to excavate today. Good luck. Wow. Oh, here we go.
Oh.
Yeah, so 1-1. So I guess 1, but there's 5 in here, so that's going to be all of those.
Yeah.
And there's 2 here. So put 1 there. So 1, 2. Put 1 there. Then there's 1 and 1. Maybe that. And there's 1 in here and 1 maybe there. Oh no, but there's 5 here. So, if you could do that in real life, if you could like dig a bit and then go, oh no, put that back.
I also think that that one won't be there.
This one?
No, because it's a 1-1.
That one?
No, that one will be there, but no one here. Maybe.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, you can't see what I'm pointing at.
No, I can't see what you're pointing at. So if we were to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
yeah,
and then 5 down as well. So which column?
I'm thinking not 2, 1, but 2, 4. So 2 down and 4 to the left.
Okay.
Right. So,
Oh, sorry, there.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. So 1, 2. Although actually remember, if there's a gap, because there's a gap between the numbers, isn't there? So it'd be 1 and then maybe 2.
Is there? I don't remember. Maybe.
I seem to recall. And 1 and then 1. So that's just 1, 1.
Yeah.
3, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. Let's check. Yes! Oh, that's a relief. And we got speleothems. Huh? I never thought I'd struggle to figure out if something was bone or stone. Lick it, I've always been told. Lick it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I turned the thin brown piece in my hand while my thumb rubbed off some of the dirt attached to it. Luckily, I'd left an imprint in the soil so I could return it to its original context. But I did not want to measure something that would reveal to be worthless. I thought about asking Cherie, but I already pestered her with a million questions this morning, and she was helping with the other students. Yeah, it's going to be Kyla, isn't it? It's going to be Kyla. Turning off my music, I glimpsed at Kyla. Oh, you could lick it. Yeah, that's true. He was kneeling down, and I jotted something on his fiche. Jotting something on his fiche, using one of the protruding forks as an improvised table. Clenching the unnamed object. What? Clenching. Oh, so clenching. I'm not with it today. Clenching the unnamed object. That is an English word. I wondered if I could ask him. Moreover, it would give me a chance to apologise on DeAndre's behalf. Oh, touché. He was completely absorbed in his work, though. So ask Kyla, figure out for self. Yes, ask Kyla. I tapped the rock surface next to the paper to get his attention, and he glanced up in response. Sensing a conversation, he raised his hands to his cochlear implant. Oh, and switched it on. Oh, actually, cochlear implant, and switched it on. Sorry to bother you, but I have a question. I held the object in, and he placed the pen down. I felt like a victory that I had captured his attention. What is it? He says. I'm stuck playing with this bone or stone game. What do you think? He extended his arm and placed the item into his outstretched palm. I placed the item into his outstretched palm. He held it up to a heat lamp beside us. The silent anticipation was agonizing, and I was surprised. Was Kyla stumped on it as well? Just when I was about to inquire, he moved his hand to his mouth, pressed the object against his tongue, nonchalantly, yes, licking. Damn right. What? It's stone, not worth recording. You can toss it into the bucket. I reluctantly held out my hand as he dropped the slightly damp stone into my possession. Should we go, ooh, or how did that work?
How did that work?
Or, oh, what about germs?
No.
No, how did that work? How could you tell by doing that? Bone is porous and sticks to the tongue. This one didn't. Oh, I get it. That makes sense. I tossed the stone into the bucket and started licking the wall. No. Thanks, Kyla. It'll definitely be handier if I'm stuck again. Be sure not to rely on it too heavily, though. Use your eyes and touch first. It's more of a last resort method. Oh, well, yeah, fair point. Sounds like good advice to me. As tempting as it was to cheat and lick each discovered object, it probably wasn't the most professional procedure to depend on. Oh, and there's one other thing. He seems disappointed, like I'd stalled his excavation. I heard about what happened last week. You know, when DeAndre accidentally hit you in the head with a rugby ball? Right, what about it? Yeah, she's super smooth. He apologised for it, that's all. An uneasy pause hung in the air, but Kyla gave a tiny nod. I admit it, I reacted rather harshly with him. It almost hit my implant, you see. Oh, I see, of course, yes. But it was an accident. I'll let him know I forgive him. You two seem close. Are you seeing each other? He said his last words hesitantly. Not exactly dating, but similar. Not exactly dating, but similar. Less formal, perhaps. Seeing each other or going out are both acceptable. I guess. And no, we're not doing that either. So does it bother you, or teasingly ask if he's jealous?
What do you think?
I know, I can't resist being a super girl, just going,
Yeah.
So are you jealous?
Yeah,
What, were you jealous when we kissed? This is what I wanted from C14 Dating. We have to plough through like an hour of archaeology to get here. Why would I be jealous? I barely know you, or DeAndre. Sorry, it was a joke, she says quickly. You see, I wouldn't be a very good girl. I'd be a blunderous girl. It's definitely not that. It's definitely not that, if anything. I was concerned about Cherie. Hearing Kyla speak her name so freely, it surprised me. Wait, of course they'd know each other. This is the fourth time here, and Cherie visited yearly. I could imagine him seeing her as a mentor at this point. Why Cherie? A few years ago, Cherie took a student for the field school. This person got heavily involved with someone here. Oh dear. Anyway, one day, Cherie's student was just vanished over the weekend. Cherie contacted his parents immediately, and they were furious. After some inquiring, someone mentioned that she may have left with one of the Belgian students who had planned the trip to Portugal. Oh dear. She didn't tell anyone, but I guess it was apparent to some of her more observant students. Basically, this student ditched the entire field school. That's like an instant flunk. I wouldn't do anything like that. Neither would I, to be honest. It wasn't exactly easy to get here in the first place. All these interviews, renewing my passport, saving up and convincing my parents. I chose this internship for the experience. I won't blow it or cause Cherie panic. She did place her trust in me after all. She's a good teacher. I agree. I clapped and to conclude our conversation. In your face, Kyla. I'm glad that was all clarified. Feel more relieved, enlightened? Yes. I'm sorry for getting the wrong idea about you and DeAndre. It's fine. No more misunderstandings. It's cool again. Still, I felt progress had been made since Kyla had opened up a little. That's true. That's true. Internet success was that? Socializing, fail. Oh no, 2 fails. Oh. Lab, fail. Fail? You have 5 more objects to clean in the lab today. Good luck. Okay, let's do this, and I think we should draw this to a close, okay? So, 5 more objects to clean. Start with bucket, cloth, craft stick, toothpick.
25, so we should...
Yeah! 24. That's good. Okay, next. Force 30. Wow, this is... We just used them all.
I'm thinking maybe brush instead of toothpick.
Okay. 29. Well done, Liv. You're very good at this abstract numbers-based cleaning. Bucket, sieve. Oh, 15. Okay, so...
7 already, so cloth and
2.
toothpick.
Yeah. 12. Not bad, not bad. Then we go bucket, brush, cloth. 18. Oh, I guess we're totally on top of this cleaning the same artifact over and over again apparently. 24. So bucket, cloth, toothpick, craft stick, or toothpick, brush.
Brush. I would go safe with brush.
Okay. 22. Yeah. Oh yeah. We would have. Yeah. Well done. Did an amazing job today. And we got some shale for our journal entry. And there we go. So gaming, internet success, gaming success, and next fail in the cave.
Not in the cave, no.
Well, I think looking at how complicated that is.
I see why we failed.
I think we can leave that be for today. Let's save our game. There we Excellent. Oh, so another hour of C14 dating. What are you thinking?
It's heating up.
Yeah. Do you think? I don't know. Do you think I get too excited at the prospect of romancing?
No, I mean, it is a dating simulator.
But no, I'm continuing to enjoy the archaeology as well. And actually, there's something there that I would like to check out. So I don't know if you were wondering about this, but the use of the pen, the ink quill, basically on finds. That's interesting.
I've done that during lab work.
Oh, okay. I haven't I've never come across that. I've always used we've always used typically like a fine permanent marker or something like that, or fine, not permanent, but like a very fine nib, pointy marker, as opposed to a.
We use like ink, art pens or quill and ink.
Right, interesting. Okay, well, there you go. You see, I've learned something from this game. How cool is that? Okay, well. Thank you for joining us today, Liv. As ever, it's obviously this is your time that you're wasting here watching me play a computer game.
I'm enjoying it thoroughly. Although into it I am when I'm trying to point at the screen that you're not by.
Yeah, that one. But no, I think this is good, and I think maybe we might do a part 3. Let's see how part 2 goes.
Yeah.
See what people think, but yeah, it's been worth it, and yeah, actually, one person even messaged sort of saying, "Well, how much are these people paying you to promote the game?"
Yeah.
Nothing, absolutely nothing. If they were paying me to promote the game, I wouldn't have started off by going, "This is going to be rubbish." No, it's been brilliant. I've really enjoyed it. Okay, grand. Right, bye, Liv, and everyone at home. As ever, until next time, do take care. Bye bye.